Hello, this is Null Inquisitor, and this video is going to be an overview of the Doctor Who RPG role-playing game. The first version of this game was called Adventures in Time and Space, but since of late they have switched to, and this is not the latest version anyway, but they switched to simply the Doctor Who role-playing game to make it easier on the tongue. So this is the 50th anniversary cover with David Tennant, Matt Smith, and the late John Hurt as the War Doctor. And this is the box set, quite heavier on the arms. So rules are practically identical. So this is going to be an overview of the system, the game, the universe of Doctor Who, the Whoniverse, if you prefer. If you're a Whovian, I might get something wrong. If you're an expert in the game, I might also get stuff wrong. But the idea here is to give you an idea, a general broad idea of the game. And also video is for my players. I'm running Doctor Who soon, so this video is for them also to just give them my briefing on the game. So let's start, shall we? Oh, just before starting, yes, we should give a little shot of this. There we go. We can go. Okay, so the Doctor Who role-playing game is a point-buy system. You pay points. You have a couple of points to spend. It's very easy. But you pay stuff, you create the character you want with points. The Doctor Who role-playing game is designed to recapture the spirit of the show, and by that I mean explore all time in space. Being kind of an optimistic show, it was kind of a kid's show when this started, and the show grew, but it kept that feeling to it. Doctor Who is in essence a Pacific universe as opposed to a hack and slash game. Doctor Who is more about heroic drama, horror, and not so much as killing monsters per se. And the game is also about the manipulation of the story, the narration, to make things more like the show and more like what we see on the TV, on the telly. So the basic premises of play are you play either the Doctor and companions, fellow time traveler. You can go also with alternate gang, such as a member of units, the military organization that is charged with protecting the Earth from aliens. Torchwood, who has a similar design, goal, motivation. Maybe more close and up close and personal than the military guys. The Paternoster gang, if we are Victorian era type of game, or the show Class, which is basically teenagers dealing with monsters and alien from the Doctor Who universe, but without the Doctor being present. And of course your own. The game is a great excuse to just use the Whoniverse and make a bunch of Time Lords, different time travelers, time thief, time agent, or you could play stuck in one period of history also. It's anything you like, but as in the show, the premises is also that you will travel a lot, meet a lot of strange creatures and mysteries. So, as I mentioned in the slide, it's a good excuse to play anything you like. Now, some premises of the Doctor Who universe itself. Of course, you're not obligated to play in canon history. For example, my own game is set in a different alternate reality that I call the Green Universe, because there is a lot of green energy is more present in this universe. Yeah, you make your own basically, or you can try to be as canon as you like if the challenge is something you would like to tackle. But the basic premises of this universe is that it's science fiction, where everything is explained by very advanced science. So it's not often very realistic, but the basis of everything is science. So there's no magic, there's no fairy powers and such. Your fairy will end up being a small alien from another planet using psionics technology and illusion field to create the illusion that fairy magic is present, for example. In the Who universe, talking and running are often preferred over fighting, because science fiction weaponry tends to be very deadly. The characters are heroes defending the oppressed, Earth, life itself, good. There's quite a bit of shady characters in Doctor Who, but the basic understanding of this universe is that it's very good versus evil. So you could play, of course, an evil character for a change, and that won't change the experience or the game mechanics per se. So it's just a premise. Another premise is that time travel is mostly robbery science with its own set of rules. There are rules in the book to deal with paradoxes and bootstrap paradoxes and time loop and fixed points in time and all that jazz. Basically, the time travel aspect in Doctor Who are very freeform, rubbery, plastic. It fits the story basically. If the story requires that a point in time cannot be changed, the players can reinforce that with story points and trading story points and just agreed on that. But mostly it's a bit of a wibbly timey-wimey stuff, as the Doctor said once. Another premise of the Doctor Who universe, it's science fiction, of course, but with the eyes of a children. So it should be like, there should be a sense of amazement and awe in every discovery. Every mystery should be run after and solved, and every little weird detail should be investigated by the characters with curiosity. So it's also science fiction with heart. Not to say that other science fiction universes don't have heart, but it's something we feel a lot in the Doctor Who show. There's also drama, horror, and humor and action, of course, but there's a dramatic quality in Doctor Who, where the character and time travel can lead to all sort of dramatic and quite emotional story. It doesn't have to be that way, but it's one of the premises of this show and this game in this universe. So let's talk mechanic now, shall we? Another shot. Yeah. All right. Is it good? Yeah. All right. We're good to go. She's gonna hold for a few more minutes. Basic rule is very simple. It's 2d6, and you add to that an attribute and a skill. An average attribute will be 3, and the maximum attribute for a human is 6, and a skill would be about the same in the same benchmark. So somebody who is average and competent in his skill would have a 3 and a 3, so you would have a +6 to 2d6. Here's the chart for the difficulty, usual difficulty. So a normal character doing a competent skill would be expected to roll a 12, around 12 for a normal difficulty task. Yeah, just try it. Just pick up 2 dice, add 6, and see with this chart how well you do, and it will give you a sense of the game right away. It's very, very easy, and most of the game use that concept for everything. So if you get that, you're good to go. There are 6 attributes. Here they are. I don't need to mention them. And here's the list of skills. That might seem not a long list of skills, but you can buy specialties or specialization for each of these skills. So you can go a little bit more granular with your design for a character. When you design a character, you receive 24 character points that you spend in these attributes, and the game recommends that you spend only 18 of them, just to give you some wiggle room to buy traits later on the process. There is a maximum of 6 you can put into a stat, and giving you a 6 is like having like an intellect of a Nobel Prize or the strength of the mountain in Game of Thrones. 6 is the human maximum. Of course, you can buy a trait called Alien that can change all that. You can now have 10 in strength or 10 in coordination and so on. But you have to be an alien. So here's an example of spending points to make an awkward scientist. You will notice that this guy has 1 point in coordination. He's very awkward and clumsy, and he has an ingenuity of 5. The guy is a genius, but everything else about this character is very low. An average is 3, and this guy have a presence of 3, but all his other stats are at 2. So this guy is really like an old scientist, clumsy, absent-minded, but very, very bright. And of course, this character would put 9 points remaining on the side to buy other stuff later. This is a construction worker. Presence very low, probably a broad guy with a thick accent, and kind of a basic guy with a strength of 4. So this guy moves around a lot and lifts stuff, and he's very strong. So just with the stat, you can model quite a lot of different characters. Even an ordinary bloke, such as this guy, with 6 points remaining. Easy? No, that's a mistake. This guy with 3 in every stat would spend all his 18 points. In Doctor Who, later in the game, when you play the game, your attributes are also your hit points. So this, for example, would be our ordinary bloke being healthy, and now our bloke received 3 points of damage, let's say from a nasty robot punching him in the gut. So now our guy is hurt, and he has 0 in strength now. And in the game, when you have a stat at 0, there is some consequences. They are not mechanical consequences. It's just a flavor that is added to the game on how to play your character. For instance, this guy with 0 in strength can barely stand. He has 0 strength. If you want to push something, he had 0 to his dice roll. And now our character have received an insult by the robot who punched him in the guts, and his resolve is now at 0. He received social or mental damage. So now he's hurt and demoralized. This guy doesn't want to fight anymore. He's down for the count. He's probably begging for mercy or something like that. And here our character received another blow. This character at this point is probably dead. When you have 3 stats that are at 0 in Doctor Who, you're probably dead. The GM will probably offer you a story point to make some kind of a deal. This deal, they suggest in the book, is taking the unadventurous threat and heal some damage. But after the game, your guys will be, I'm out the TARDIS. I'm not doing this anymore. So that's one way of leaving the TARDIS and leaving your career as a time traveler and survive. But also it's a good way to, if you want to go the other side and make the sacrifice, you can also die like this. There's another way of dying, and it is meeting one of these guys. Weaponry in Doctor Who can sometimes just kill a character just upon one hit, such as a Dalek, blue skeleton, death ray, a Cyberman blaster with a critical hit. Stuff like that will destroy your life in one moment. Now, the game is built around hope and optimism, so you have a bunch of story points in your pockets to make that less likely, of course. Let's talk skills now. The game gives you 18 points. Now, these points are just for skills, so you cannot trade character points you receive for your attributes and traits with these. These are just skill points. You can buy a trait in the book called experience, I believe, with character points, and this threat will give you more skill points if you want to be like experienced, an adventurer, experienced adventurer. You can buy, as I said earlier, areas of expertise, specialization, at the cost of 1 skill point for each of the skill. You have to have level 3 in a skill to do that. So I could take like medicine at 3, and for the cost of 1 point, I would be like a surgeon or a physician or a pharmacist. If I ever need to roll a medicine pharmacy roll, I would add +3 to my roll. That on top the 3 points I had in the skill. Traits. Now, the character point you saved earlier are now very useful here to buy traits. Traits are like advantages, disadvantages, flaws, special talent, being an alien, being a time traveler, having a special gadget in your life. You want to have a laser pistol and a power suit, you will use trait to do that. Since they are sciencey stuff, you will probably need to buy alien first. Alien in this game doesn't mean like a creature. It just means somebody from space, somebody from elsewhere than Earth. So if you're just a human from the future, time traveling around, having a beer in different galactic tavern, you would probably fit the alien description. So that would also give you access to all kinds of gadgets and enormous stats and all that stuff. So minor threat cost 1 point, major threat cost 2 points. Special threat like being an alien or a time traveler or having psychic powers varies. it will cost probably 2 points at minimum. You can also take bad traits to gain bonus points to spend on more traits. There's a maximum of 6 points of that. But I found that unless you play a very outrageous concept, you won't need those 6 points. But it can happen, as often does if you play a Time Lord or a very outrageous concept like these things can happen in Doctor Who. So for example, I took the ordinary Bloke and I gave him like an empathic trait, a face in the crowd, so he's just bland, he's just average looking, but he has like this photographic memory, especially for trivia. Like he watch the TV all the time and he memorize answers to quiz and comic books facts, and so this guy is very like an untapped talent. He's probably unemployed, and yeah, I gave him clumsy too and unlucky as 2 minor bad threat, just to make him more interesting. So he's going to be like very awkward and clumsy, and on top of that he's unlucky from time to time. So this character would not use the full 24 character points I received and remain 4 points. That's okay too. You're not obligated in this game to use all your points. You can stack some on the side. Since there is no experience point system in this game, it will be an agreement or a conversation with the group and the GM to receive more points during the game, or just have an advantage or a stat move up. So it's really about the character and the story you want to aim for. So here's our ordinary Bloke, fully stat out, ready to play. It's very easy, as you can see, and I've talked a bunch in this video, and I made a character. Let's call him Dave. We'll use Dave later on. So the only thing I had to this character sheet are tech level. Dave comes from our time, so he's in the game's term tech level 5 character. Now this is just a small details because you will be traveling in time and space, of course, and depending on how you or where you are, you will have sometimes to deal with the strange alien artifact or devices, and knowing your time, your own timeline tech level will adjust some skills relative to what you are going to roll in play. For example, this device is probably tech level 10. So if Dave want to use this, he will have, from memory, he will have -10 to understand this thing and use it. Unless he's an experienced time traveler, he will think that some kind of weird sex toy or or something like that, or maybe a galloper. It's always a galloper or an hydro spanner. So yeah, and story points too. Story points are the device, the currency you will use in the game to trade with the GM to make stuff happen, to be more lucky in your roll, to dodge that Dalek Blu-ray of death. You start with 12 story point in the game, especially if you are an ordinary Bloke like Dave. Having gadgets like a TARDIS, a sonic screwdriver, a psychic paper, a jetpack, a X-ray goggle, anything you can think of will probably cost you some story points, because this device has a potential to trump the story, to make the story more interesting. For example, the sonic screwdriver in Doctor Who opens doors. This is this device function. It can also like broadcast a signal, receive the signal. It's like a mini computer, and with many other applications. But if I'd like to, I don't know, shoot a laser beam from it. Now, this thing is not built with traits involving shooting laser. It's in games term, it has the open and close trait, for example. If I'd like to use this to shoot a green laser to cut some fences or wires or something, I would need to use story points to make that happen, to make this more to make this extra ability appear in the game. So I would need to use story points. So I would use story points that are in the device, spend that story points that I invested in that device, making sure that you are going to use that thing to do the green laser thing. And also, if you're a Time Lord or another advanced alien, that will cost you some story points just to be more competent or more powerful than other characters. But small companion, human, ordinary, frail, mortal companion with 12 story points can do a lot of things that the Doctor or Time Lords cannot pull off right from the beginning of an episode. So, and this stat is your maximum amount of story point you can have between sessions. So in a game, you don't have maximum. You don't have maximum story points. You can have 20, 30. So a companion, a mortal human, frail little thing would have a head start on a Time Lord to make stuff very interesting and more often probably. So again, resolution is 2d6 plus attribute plus skill. Trait can give a bonus to a skill, and all that is compared to difficulty. So the margin of success or failure will be important, very important in the game. So you don't just throw your dice at the number and done. I would suggest note in your head or on a sheet of paper the result, because you need to have the margin of success or failure, because as you can see here, a success, there's a gradation in the result of a resolution in Doctor Who, the role-playing game. It's not just pass, fail, hit, miss. It's all in between. So it goes from no and you're in deep trouble to yes, you succeed and you have extra special ability. So you have a gradation, and this is why you need the margin of success or failure. So let's do an example, shall we? Another little shot, just here. All right, we're good to go for another couple of minutes. She's gonna hold, I swear. So a Dalek is patrolling near Dave, our ordinary bloke Dave, and Blake needs to open that locked door to escape. So the GM calls for a tricky, difficulty 15, a tricky ingenuity plus technology roll. So Dave have 3 in ingenuity and 4 in technology. He's pretty good with video game consoles and computers, and he's quite tech savvy for an ordinary bloke. So you roll the dice. You will then score either a fantastic result, a good result, a success, a failure, a bad result, or a disastrous failure. So here's an example on how you can interpret this dice roll. So let's start with fantastic. He rolled a double 6. He spent some story points to boost his dice roll. He rolled like 25. The players are rejoicing. So the fantastic result could be not only the door slides open, but Dave can immediately shut it behind him. Checkmate, Dalek. So that's like the ideal or the most dream situation for Dave. A good success would simply let the door slide open just as required or hoped for. Now, a simple success from 0 to 3, as we can see here, would be a success. But, so just meeting the target number in Doctor Who is often okay, but it's just barely. A success in this game is always met with some kind of little hiccup, unless you score a success by 4 or 8. So in this case, the door would slide open, but the Dalek might hear the swoosh of the door. So the GM would pick up the dice and maybe check for if the Dalek, because they've just did it okay. But there might be complications. A failure is a sharp no. But it's not a hard no. Let's return back. Here, a failure by 0, by 1, because at 0 you meet your, it's another little mistake here. But a failure by 1 to 3 is a failure, but something might not be just that bad. So in this case, the door won't open yet, but Dave might still have his chance, or he might still try next round. Let's say he's working on the door, sweats start pouring on his face, the Dalek is nearby, and Dave still continue to work on the door and pray like every gods he can think of. So this is good for maintaining tensions. It's not just a straight no, you failed. Let's say Dave failed by a quite a big margin, like 4 to 8. This is a bad result. This is your straight up no. The door won't open. Maybe it's even stuck and you cannot do it. Maybe it's deadlock. This thing won't work against deadlock, by the way. So yeah, this is your straight up no. So you have to fail by a lot to have a no, a straight up no. And of course, if you fail by a quintessential number like 9 or more, it is disastrous. It's your critical failure. Not only the door don't open, but Dave activates an alarm. Exterminate! Exterminate! The Dalek comes immediately charging in, and it's time for Dave to scream. So this gives you an idea, just a simple situation, how you can interpret result. Another way of looking at that is the success ladder. You have a fantastic result, good, success, failure, bad, and disastrous, and you could use that. It's conveniently placed on the Game Master screen. So just here, you have this little chart. So yeah, this is the core of the mechanic of the game. Now let's end this very long video with a talk about a story point, because they are quite important. Now I'll go very fast here, because all you need to know about story points is that using them makes the game lean your way. It's as simple as that. You can, for example, the first application is to boost a dice roll. Now you need to do that before the dice roll. It's very a cheap option to have more chance of success. It's very cheap to do that. You spend 1 story point and you add 2 dice on your roll. If the GMs agree, you can even spend more story point to have more dice to your dice pool in your hand. But the extra you will buy will be on a 1-to-1 cost. Yeah. So, for example, if you spend three story points with the agreement of your GM, you would throw 4 extra dice plus your 2. That's basically 6d6 plus your stat plus your skill. It's quite an impressive dice pool if you think about it. You can bump the success up. So you roll the dice. In this situation, it's after the fact, after the roll. You roll and you miss. You roll disastrous. The Dalek will find you. On the success ladder here, just here, as you can see, to go from disastrous to a success, you need 3 steps. So this is 3 story points of spending right here. You cannot go higher in the success ladder by using story points. You cannot buy yourself a good or a fantastic success. So this will be always, you succeed, but barely. So if you think about it, the other usage of boosting a dice roll, you would need to do that in advance, but you're rolling 6d6 plus modifiers, so the chances are very good here. But now it's after the fact. You already rolled the dice, so this is like a emergency procedure, if you will. So you roll very badly and you want to correct stuff, you can bump the success up the success ladder with story points. And of course, maximum level is a simple success. You can obtain a clue, very useful when we're running a mystery. Recover. Now, you may remember that our Dalek almost disintegrated poor Dave. Dave could use story points to gain some of his strength and resolve back. At a more calm point in the story, Dave could just do a big sigh and and get himself on his feet, and so you would gain back half an attribute. If Dave wanted to gain resolve and strength, he would need to spend 2 story points, 1 for each stat. You can mimic a skill from another player. So if the Doctor, the Time Lord, some military dude did something very cool, or instructed you on what to do, like, when I'll say the word, use this lever, if the light goes red, you do this, that, and this and that, you spend a story point to basically gain the same skill as the person who teach you. So this is why Clara can use the sonic screwdriver or the TARDIS at moment in the series. This is why Donna can solve an intense time-traveling mystery, because the Doctor told her about time travel and all such. But of course, you're limited to a simple success. You cannot be a fantastic result. You cannot roll a fantastic result, of course. Use a gadget. Now, if you just use a sonic screwdriver to open the door, there is no cost involved. You just sonic it and go. You don't even need to roll most of the time. To roll most of the time, you just use a device. It was conceived that way. But if you want to, as we said earlier, shoot a green laser, you need to push your device and push it beyond its limits. You will need to spend a story point. And bend the plot now. Bend the plot is manipulating the story, adding details, twisting events, making a reveal. The domain of plot twist, big plot twist can happen, but you will need to ask the game master if it's destroy his plan, or if he allows such a twist. There's a negotiation that can happen at the table, but basically the number of story points you inject into your big idea is required by this little table right here. From a tiny little adding a detail to a scene to a finding a screwdriver somewhere to rebooting the universe, basically. So you can also inspire a friend. Inspire a friend! You can give story points to another player by giving an encouragement or a dramatic speech, such as the 12th Doctor in doing the war speech. Now, a quick word. Oh man, this video is long. This is an overview, right? So let's talk just quickly about conflicts. Conflicts are your combat, your arguments, your seduction, intimidation, everything conflictual. In a conflict, you establish a scene. You then ask everybody what are their intent. So this may be a little pause into the action, but it gives the chance to be very honest about what you are going to try in this round, and it will affect what's going to happen mechanically then. Once everyone around the table has declared their intent or what they want to achieve, everyone takes action. Now, Doctor Who is very special as a game because you don't roll initiative per se. You don't go fighting right away and then go into this death loop until somebody dies. No, in Doctor Who, people who talks go first, because you can have a mental or a social conflict. You can stop a Dalek by going, wait, I have something to tell, and you will have to roll a persuasion or intimidation, whatever. Talkers go first. Movers and runners go second. So if you want to run, like run, it's always a great idea. Sometime to move or to open a door, to do something physically, to move around. This is your time. Doers, open a lock, program a computer, use a sonic, everything that is a skill, basically, like doing a first aid on someone or checking a system, if it's about to blow or something. And the last to go are the fighters. So you have a lot of chance to do stuff before somebody blue skeleton you to death and just remove your character from the game. So this is why also it's very important to declare your intention before going into the action phase. Because if you want to talk with somebody, then run, then possibly open a door, that's 3 action, and you will have penalty for multiple action. It's -2 for every extra action you will do. So you could talk, run, open a panel, and then shoot a blaster. But that shoot of the blaster will be at -6. And it's generally a good idea to focus on one action. The game has, of course, a paragraph about multiple action, but it's generally better to focus on one action, especially if there's many players in the group. So you focus on one stuff. If you want to do extra stuff, the GM can allow it, basically. It all depends on the situation. And if 2 person in the same phase, like for example 2 runner or 2 fighter or 2 doer, aim for to do the same stuff at the same time, we'll have a check on the attributes. The awareness stat is the one we check for initiative and quickness, but that can be another stat too. It depends on the situation. It can be your total in skill you're about to throw. If you want to intimidate a Dalek, resolve plus intimidation, that will be your total. That could be your initiative too. So, and you do it all that again when as long as the conflict is not resolved. So thanks for watching this long video. I'm gonna leave you with this marvelous man. It's the same man. So thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye.